In a busy city, there was a young man named Tom who always felt confused. Tom had big dreams. He wanted to open a coffee shop and travel the world. But these dreams never came true. Tom checks his cell phone and catches up on TV shows every day, always telling himself, let's start tomorrow. However, tomorrow never comes. One cold rainy day, Tom had just finished a boring day's work. Tom waited for the bus, tired and empty. At this time, an old man in a suit walked towards Tom. The old man is holding an hourglass in his hand. Young man, can you lend me your money for a minute? The old man asked. Tom frowned and said, I'm waiting for the bus and I don't have time. The old man smiled and said, it's not that you don't have time, you just don't know how to use it. Tom was a little impatient. What do you mean by that? The old man asked. The hourglass in his hand was handed to Tom. Look at this hourglass. Tom found that the hourglass was marked dream, waiting, work, love, regret. The sand flows slowly, falling on waiting every time, and then sliding towards regret. What does that mean? Asked Tom. This is your time, the old man said. Tom smiled and said, no way, this is a joke. The old man shook his head. No joke. This hourglass shows how you use your time. Tom stared at the hourglass, and the sand grains slid again, briefly staying in dreams, then quickly dropped back to waiting, and finally to regret. Tom's heart clenched. Why does the hourglass always fall on regret? The old man said, because you are always waiting and never act. You have dreams but never practice. You wait for the right time, but you don't know that time will not wait for you. Tom lowered his head, knowing that the old man was right. What should I do? Tom asked. The old man handed the hourglass to Tom. Take it. The change of the hourglass depends on your choices. If you start to act, it will change. Tom asked, but what if I fail? What if I make the wrong choice? The old man asked. He smiled and said, the only wrong choice is to do nothing. From the next second on, you can change. As soon as he finished speaking, the old man disappeared in the rain, leaving only Tom and the hourglass. The bus arrived, but Tom didn't get on. He stood there, looking at the hourglass, and the sand grains were still flowing between waiting and regret. Tom thought back to his unfinished dreams, and then made a decision. Tom turned and walked into a cafe. He once dreamed of opening a cafe, but never actually tried it. Tom ordered a cup of coffee, opened his notebook, and began to write down his idea for the cafe. At first, Tom's thoughts were easily distracted, and he even wanted to give up. But when Tom looked at the hourglass, the grains of sand had moved from waiting to working. Tom smiled and kept at it. That night, Tom wrote that the cafe was closing. For the first time in years, Tom felt that his life was full of meaning. A few weeks later, the sand in the hourglass stopped between dream and love. He finally understood that action is the only way to change his life. Tom never saw the old man again. He learned an important truth. The value of time depends on how you use it. From then on, Tom no longer waited, but began to truly live in every moment.